Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time to dive into Cities Skylines 2. These are gonna be my very first impressions of this game after about 1000 hours in Cities Skylines 1, so you can imagine my expectations are pretty high. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and start up a new game. Out of all of these maps, I decided to start with the River Delta map here. We got a really nice temperature range of -4 to 34 degrees, good outside connections, and of course all of the resources. I'm gonna call the city Erst Eindruck, which translates to first impressions from Swiss. Oh man, I'm really excited now. Please be good. Oh yeah, let me just enjoy this very moment for a bit. Yeah, look at the detail here. Looks like the game at least comes with a whole bunch of graphical upgrades. So let's see what we can do. I'm assuming that a lot of the stuff is going to be the same as in Cities Skylines 1, but there are hopefully some additions and improvements and hopefully also other challenges and gameplay mechanics. Nice, looks like we have a little bit of a roundabout action going on here, and this is the entrance to my city. Nice, look at all the information we're getting from this and all the tools, the snapping modes, elevation, parallel mode, and oh my gosh, okay, this is so much better. Now we can be extremely precise. Very nice. And then since I just built the road, I also get my money back with the bulldozer. Looks like it's time for our first residential zones. I'm just gonna zone a little bit here and see what happens. Of course, we also need a little bit of commercial zoning, which I'm gonna do right here along the main street. And then maybe we go ahead and zone a little bit of industrial over here. This will process materials to create goods, which then can be sold by businesses. So it looks like the buildings are going to be a little bit bigger here, like 6 tiles. Yeah, I need to take that into consideration. Like right here, we need to increase this. So I'm just going to do one 6x6 for now and see how things develop. Ooh, electricity can be imported from neighboring cities. I always went with coal or wind in Cities Skylines 1. Let's try to import it. Man, these overlays are so much nicer to look at. And here we have our power from the outside. We're gonna need a power transformer to get it from high to low voltage. And then it looks like we just need to connect this. Okay. Oh yeah, we can build underground cables. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I gotta try this. Yeah, we can go up or we can go down. Amazing! There's a limit to how much electricity cables can transfer. So we still have to transport the power all the way around with the power lines, but then we use transformers to feed it into the grid. And we should be able to see that here. Electricity, yeah, it's definitely right there. Of course, now we get to the water part, which I think is also built into the roads. We can either go with groundwater, we can go with a water pumping station, or I assume the water tower. Water and sewage. Looks like we have some hotspots here where we could place a water pumping station. Let's go with the groundwater pumping station that I should be able to just place here, I guess. And it does want me to connect things up, so maybe I can move it, relocate that building, and we're gonna place it right there. Finally, of course, we need to take care of the poop water with a sewage outlet. So far, everything is more or less familiar. Here we go. I had to unpause to see the downstream. So basically, the water flows into this direction, which means I want to put my sewage pipe here. And then all we got to do is connect this to our network. Wait, what? That's the end of the tutorial? Yeah, continue. I think we got this. Wonderful. Looks like we already have some building action going on here. This is looking really good, I gotta say. I like the fact that we now have actual days passing by and not just weeks flying by like in Cities Skylines. 1 month equals to 24 hours. I think that's a good compromise there. Oh, looks like we have someone moving in. Who are you? The Watts family. Let's see where they're heading. I mean, they can't possibly already want to move in. Holy cow. Okay. Well, I'm not going to hold it against you. Yeah, Rachel and Irina Watts. They're moving into their house. Ooh, interesting. We need to earn XP in order to advance to the next milestone. Wait, what? There's a skill tree in order to unlock stuff. Okay, that might actually make it more interesting, so you can unlock stuff when you actually need it. And then of course there are the traditional milestones as well that will progressively give us more access to features of the game. And finally we got some achievements. Cool. As soon as I plop down some commercial, the demand seems to be going down. So this is reacting rather quickly. Now more low density residential is in demand. So I'm just gonna keep on expanding a little bit to meet the demands. So far so good. This looks really promising except for the flickering of the shadows here. That is kind of weird. That's even worse. Do I need to disable them? We reached the first milestone, a tiny village, get a good sum of cash, and then I guess a couple of unlock points. We get access to things like the budget and city statistics, even medium density housing already, so that comes much earlier. And then of course a whole bunch of roads and death care, which actually is important because I just had someone dying. Looks like they buried him in the playground for now. I like how the money is a little bit more realistic with 100,000 upkeep a month. So the medical clinic is actually more expensive to upkeep than to initially buy. And then a cemetery is much more expensive to buy but less to upkeep. I still like how they call it storage inside the cemetery. I guess we're gonna get started with a medical clinic. It looks like this is gonna give us 150 XP building that. We also got access to garbage management. Let's maybe get started with a landfill here. Adjust the dumping area of the landfill. A larger area can store more garbage. Intriguing. So I can just make my own shape here with the garbage collection. This is so nice. I can even add or delete corners. Look at that. I wonder where else they implemented these things. When it comes to map tasks, there seem to be many more that we can unlock, but they also seem to be a little bit smaller. But there's definitely more building space than in the first game. Looking at our budget right now, we are totally in the red, so I guess we need more people that pay taxes and use our services. There's a new overlay, company profitability, and it looks like the businesses upgrade depending on how much money and wealth they have left after paying their running costs. You know what? I really have high hopes that the gameplay is going to be much deeper and more interesting if you want it to. And of course we also need certain education levels in order for people to be able to do specific jobs. Now here it is, our first nighttime. Honestly, I hope it's not gonna last until 6 in the morning, otherwise it's gonna be nighttime for a very long time. But it's still better than the erratic day and night cycles we had in Cities Skylines 1. I always ended up disabling the nighttime feature. Oh, looks like we had our first house upgrading here. Very nice. People seem to be happy. But it looks like we're gonna have to expand in order to gain more XP to reach the next milestone and actually unlock the important stuff. Yeah, here we have another death, but I cannot really just build willy-nilly, otherwise we're just gonna lose all that money. So keep burying your people in playgrounds, please. Whoa, okay, turns out there's such a thing as air pollution, and we need to be careful when building our industrial areas so the air pollution isn't being carried over. Also, ground and noise pollution are of course a thing, so commercial areas will produce noise pollution, which of course is not something my citizens enjoy near their living area. And then of course there's also some water pollution going on here. Currently we have around 80 open positions for employment, and this might become increasingly more interesting as we build schools and universities. My citizens also have a budget, it seems, so the poorest of the poorest live in the red houses, and then there are some citizens that are a little bit wealthier. Healthcare, I would say we also have good coverage, no vehicles in use. Some people are complaining about healthcare, but I'm not sure what they mean. Now, I gotta say, the road tools are pretty crazy. You can just draw entire grids. Love it. Okay, nice. So there's only a short dark phase because the moon also lights things up a little bit. This is a great solution, actually. I just wish it would stop raining for once. There it is, the second milestone, small village. 700k. Okay, maybe I'm not building fast enough. Looks like we can now dive into education. This is really good. Yeah, and just like in the first game, there are different levels of education and different levels of jobs. I'm just gonna get started with a simple elementary school right there, and well, maybe we wait with the college. There it is. Our student number is also going up. I love how they classify this as low noise pollution. They've probably never been in an elementary school. Dawn is upon us, and there's actually also a boat, a cargo ship. Yeah, there we go. They look pretty decent.
so you can vary much more with how you want to zone things and in which theme. This is going to be so much better to get the look of the city that you actually want. Just look at the detail here. I'm gonna enjoy this so much. The chirper is already getting on my nerves with all the notifications. Just why do you always have to make a sound? But apart from the shadows, this is so much nicer to look at, I have to say. Also the citizens. So now here we have some medium density housing. What is your problem? Condemned. No, it just had a little bit of a zoning issue. Now it's not condemned anymore. Chirper pop-ups, go away. Ah, jeez, thank you. There's already something like the industries built in. We got access to livestock farming, which is a specialized type of industry, as well as the stone mining. We also now got access to fire and rescue with this next milestone, as well as the police station. So things are getting more interesting and spicy. Let me make some progress here. I'm just gonna keep on building and making my observations of the gameplay mechanics and fidelities of the game that I notice. By the way, I also placed my first cemetery and it is absolutely huge, but it does look pretty good. Active specialized areas will make the city more attractive. Look at all these specializations. We have grain farming, vegetable farming, textile fiber, forestry, stone, coal mining, ore mining, and oil drilling. Oh, I'm gonna have so much fun with this. Oh, this is so funny. There are actual car accidents in the game now, and I assume they would also make the traffic clog up in some way. I noticed as soon as my buildings got upgraded to level 3, they now all have a too high rent. That has probably something to do with my education level and the other buildings not having high enough paying jobs. So it's going to be quite interesting to actually balance this. Right now, I'm just trying things out in order to prepare myself for the real city that I want to build. I have no issue spending the better part of a year on a single save game to make it absolutely incredible. And of course, I'm also going to document that on YouTube. Whoa, the Grand Village milestone is huge. We get the production paneled district creation tool finally. Natural disasters are unlocked. Public transportation, even offices, and I think also parks. So this has been quite a big one. Also represented by a big blob here, so I'm already looking forward to the big town. Maybe we can get things started with a few offices right here between commercial and residential. And then of course we also have the farming industry and forestry. I'm gonna deep dive into that in the actual playthrough. Do we need a bus depot just yet? I don't think so, but I certainly want to test it out. Also creating bus lines and stuff like that works just like in the first game. Everything seems to be slightly improved. I don't notice too many differences just yet, except that everything is much cleaner and maybe differently balanced. And of course we also have access to parks and can make everything a little bit nicer. You know, honestly, so far my impressions are really good and I can't wait to spend another thousands of hours in here. But now I think it's time for me to develop the city a little bit, just see what else I can find and also maybe watch a bunch of other YouTubers finally talking about the game. I want to know what they figured out during the time they already got it. I just got it now on release date, so we'll see. Okay, a couple of hours have passed. I watched a bunch of videos and I also downloaded a bigger city in order to test the performance on my computer. Now I do have a really good computer with a 4090 and all the whistles, so my rig is definitely not the average benchmark, but I just wanted to know, is it gonna hold up with me actually making a series on that? And it looks like we do lose a whole bunch of FPS only at 100,000 population, which is what we can see here. However, this is at full speed. Let's just see what happens if I put it to normal speed, and it really still looks smooth. We can see it during the turning. This is definitely not 60 FPS. Yeah, so this is slightly disappointing and could cause a problem since, you know, I tend to build bigger cities and long-lasting cities. Of course, FPS problems are always an issue there, but this is at the highest settings and everything, so I guess as we play along and if the game doesn't get optimized enough, then we are just lowering the settings. Now, the save game that I downloaded here comes with lots and lots of issues, but it was still a good indicator of what's actually possible. I had a little look around and there are so many buildings, so many services. This is going to be an absolute monster task to actually design a city that is going to stand the test of time. And you know, after diving a little bit deeper into the game, I really feel like we can do this. Now I'm currently looking at the Steam reviews and it's kind of what I expected, namely that the game doesn't have enough features because Paradox usually adds more features with the DLCs, and of course that it is not optimized enough.
One comment says, this is a paradox game, meaning that buying new will only spoil the experience you'll have when they actually finish developing the game. Give them a year or two to fix the game, release a few DLCs that should have been included at launch, and only then pick it up at sale price. Just play the original until then, you'll be a happier person. You know, I was kind of afraid of judgments like these because I just experienced that with Kerbal Space Program, which is absolutely unplayable, and so I decided to abandon it until they either finish or abandon the project. With Paradox, I'm not too worried that they are eventually gonna fix the game and add all the features, even if you have to purchase the DLCs. From the perspective of a YouTuber, I don't really mind purchasing these, but I can see how that sucks a little bit, especially if the base game isn't fleshed out just yet. However, at this point and after a couple of hours into the game, I truly believe this is gonna be the best city building simulator, especially once they add moddability to the game as well. I know not everyone is happy that modders sometimes have to fix the game or add features that should be in the game, but honestly I don't mind. The developers cannot do everything, and modders can fill these gaps and they will make the game better. So I truly believe I'd rather have a not so fleshed out game in terms of features, but we get some moddability there. What they have to fix though is the performance. This game needs to run smooth even with 100,000 population. I would say up to 500,000 I want to be able to run on my rig without too many issues or sacrifices. Apparently there are also some basic features that are currently missing, such as bikes. I mean, there are motorbikes, but there are no normal bikes. That would be a little bit cheap to add in a DLC, honestly. There's also no first person view, but you know, we get other things like we can now track specific citizens. Just add them to the follow list and you can kind of watch their lives. And yeah, things like a first person mode is definitely something that will be covered by a mod. So I guess what I mean to say, I see the huge potential in this game. There are so many things to explore and I can't wait to implement them all into my city. We're gonna make a really great city out of this and I can't wait to actually play it. I think I want to end my first impressions before I spoil myself too much with the endgame stuff, but now I have already a much better idea of what we can do, especially with the road layouts. This is going to be so much better, and then we can specifically decide the zoning, the parks and everything. Sure, there are not as many assets just yet, but this is not what I worry about. I mean, there are so many things inside the game that are gonna occupy me for many hours to come, and until then I'm sure there will be updates and hopefully, most importantly, there will be modding. So yeah, while playing the game, of course, it felt extremely familiar, and I think I can deal with the slight differences there are, and I can't wait to build the ultimate city, tweaking it and making a huge series on it. I mean, sure, this is probably not the first Cities Skylines 2 video in your feed, but I wasn't really in a hurry to be the first on this game because I know I will outlast most of the other YouTubers. Just the hardcore Cities Skylines players are gonna keep at it, and hopefully I can take you on this journey. It's gonna be great. I'm definitely gonna enjoy this. But yeah, I would say with that out of the way, I'm gonna wrap it up and I get right to actually building my own city so that we can get this journey started together. With that out of the way, have a great time, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'm gonna catch you in the next video. Bye bye.